and using it for our 211, both two-way text and one-way push messaging. We very quickly saw the opportunity to integrate it further into our organization and work with our community impact work around education, income, and health, basic needs, and other things. And we have subsequently even gone beyond that, use it for volunteering and for donations. But I want to focus today on community impact, because I think that's an area that clearly has significant opportunity to grow. There are 25 existing programs currently being used across the country, and you can also create your own programs. And that's the nice thing about this platform and text through this platform, is the fact that you are not limited to these 25. You can create what you need to meet your local needs and your local programs. I'm going to give you some examples of what we have done that have been very successful for us, and hopefully not only entice you to look at these programs, but to create your own. So if you go to the next slide, that would be greatly appreciated, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
Our first program is called Going to College, and we have done this now for 3 years, going on 4 years. We actually developed the substance of that with help from Harvard University. And the intent is, we know that the primary reason that students who are otherwise eligible for college do not attend college is because they miss important dates. You know, they miss dates for FAFSA or for financial aid. And I don't know if you've recently tried to help your child get into college, but it's a daunting task. And this was designed to help them do that, both help the parents, the education staff, and the student. Your next slide, please.
Mm-hmm.
So the way it works, we launched in 2014. We use unique keywords tied to both the institution, the university or college, and the graduation date. And they are allowed to pick 3 colleges off the list. It's all the colleges and universities in Florida. We encourage them to pick a stretch university, a local university, and then also what they would be hoped to be their third choice. And they log into that school, and throughout the period of that time when they log in, they get information specific to that college in terms of information related to admission, open house events, that kind of stuff. They get information related to financial aid, and there are links attached to the text that allows them to click on the forms necessary or to register or to fill out and so forth. They get information related to application deadlines and FAFSA renews. They also get texts that are encouraging them to stay the course or what education can do for them. So, you know, they get specific information about the college, general information that's relevant to any college, and then encouragement. The outcomes, you know, I think they are very impressive. Higher completion rates of forms like FAFSA, higher success rate meeting deadlines, and higher enrollment in participating colleges. A very, very useful program. And in fact, we encourage the folks throughout the process to reach back to us if they have questions or need additional help. And once they transition from college to career, we take them on a different path, a different text stream. But, you know, we load this stuff basically once a year, and then it goes out periodically as appropriate. Let's go to the next program. Text for Tots. And you're going to see that we're going to focus on education, income, health, as all United Ways do. Text for Tots is actually a national program, but we blended into our program with text. And the nice thing about, I should mention, the college program, the Text for Tots program, and all the programs I'm going to talk about are not necessarily tied to a person's economic level in the community. You know, it's as daunting for a person that's making $25,000 as a person making $100,000 to get into college. It's daunting for a young or a parent with a first child or second, third child as it is for regardless of your economic level. So what this has done is also has helped us cross those economic areas and made us more relevant to a lot of folks in the community. Next slide. Jonathan? Oh, thank you.
Yep,
So text
got
for
it.
topics.
Yep.
Parents and guardians have to receive weekly text messages. Topics include nutrition, games and activities, healthy habits, local resources, and safety. Measurable outcomes, very important. Healthier parenting, better family nutrition, more children hitting age-appropriate stages, and more children receiving appropriate early intervention and starting preschool. And what the parent does is they sign in based on the age of the child at that point in time, and then as the child ages, the text change to reflect where that child is in the stage. So it's, you know, within the whole time. And we market this at the hospitals, at the doctors, and obviously through our United Way webpage. But you know, it's a great and valuable community resource. Next slide.
And let me add something real quick, Larry. Just that it's very much a forward-thinking project, and it's a long play, so that you've got the participants over a 4-year period, and that also it is a really important component of that work. Is, you know, you may be familiar with, for instance, like Text for Babies, that also came out of HHS, but that's just for that period of time before birth, and then it moves maybe a little bit after birth, but then you lose touch with them. This is throughout those first 4 to 5 years of their child's life, and because it's so highly tailored, they stay with it the whole time.
And thank you for mentioning it, because building a relationship is really what we want to do with the folks that are involved in our text programs. The next program is related to financial stability in our work in that area. It's called My Money. I know many of you are involved in VITA and EITC. This is part of that, but we wanted to have an ongoing relationship once again, not just a interaction during the tax period. So next slide, please. We do a number of topics and seasonal in nature. So topics related to career development, asset building, financial literacy, tax credits, EITC, and we time them to the time of the year when it makes the most sense. So obviously EITC and VITA are, you know, during that period in January through April. Financial literacy we will do towards the end of April, then go into May and June, because we want folks to get the return and then to be thoughtful about how they take that return, spend that return. We talked about asset building, you know, how putting $1 away a week can make a significant difference over a period of time, and also about career development. We also look at things like, you know, during the holidays, how they can be thoughtful, not overspend, or how they can use their dollars most appropriately. So it is very much a year-round approach, a lasting relationship, a way to engage folks. And once again, you know, regardless of your income, there's information on this site that is valuable to you. And once again, the outcomes, I think, are very impressive. Increased financial literacy in your community, more family receiving tax credits, more people receiving tax information, and harm reduction. You know, we talk about predatory lending and all these kind of things. So very tangible results, very significant impact. Moving on, please. We've talked about education, income, and health. I know that many of you are also working with veterans, and it is a very important population. We created a text field related to veterans. We call it Mission. And our intent was to meet the veteran where they're at and give them information that was timely and relevant. So the way this works is, next slide. We allow a veteran to sign into one or more tracks. So there is an employment track, a legal help track, an education track, finance track, a healthcare track, and there's also a track related to events in the community, for veterans, and they can go in and they sign up for employment. And what they get on employment is employment tips, but also employment opportunities. And the thing about all these is they're very dynamic. So we may find out today that there is a job fair tomorrow for veterans. That'll go on there and it will be sent out to the veterans immediately. But we also are able to program in things over a period of time that don't change, like employment tips and so forth. And the same goes to legal help, education, finances, and healthcare. It's both timely, but it is in some cases staged over a certain period of time. And the current events are the same way. We have found, and being a veteran myself, veterans like to hang out with other veterans. So when there's a veteran event, whether it be at a park or some other thing, let the veterans know, and they have found that a very useful and helpful tool to make their interaction in the community much better. Some of the outcomes, we've built trust with a single on-demand source for info. We've reduced harm once again because we talk about finances. We've helped them make new friends because we've created the awareness of events in the community, and we've created a low-cost way to get information that would normally they'd have to contact 211 for out to the veteran when they need it and what they're looking for. Next slide. Now, another program, and what we're hoping that you're starting to see is we're using the same platform to be able to do a variety of things, all localized to meet our need, but also populated with data that you can use to create for your environment. So SNAP, is a number of things. It's a supplemental nutrition program for those in poverty, and they've used it to create an integrated assessment intake, outcome link analysis. They create a Bitly or Google to be able to measure when the person clicks on it to see what they do. Linked assessment, they collect the data and be able to do reimbursements based on a number of activities to the agency. Outcomes, cut staff time with automation, INR focus on more complex needs, because it can all be done online through text. Increase the enrollment in SNAP. It's help them to make friends in state and local government by making better reporting, more folks using it, and so forth, and provide consistent service delivery model in line with SNAP goals. SNAP is one example of how you can use this text platform to do assessment intake. We are currently right now working on developing a program related to coordinated entry. I know a number of you are doing that in the homeless and veterans. The same process, they'll be able to go in through text, to be able to fill out the form and do an assessment, and they'll be able to then determine what's the most appropriate resource, be it back to 211 or to another agency. Once again, trying to meet the client where they're at, trying to make the system as efficient as possible, and trying to be better at reporting data back to the various funders. I know that I've gone through a number of programs very quickly, but once again, I hope you can see that text can be used, community impact work, and can be very good at supplementing what would normally take a lot of time with staff. It's a very good way to get into populations that may not receive you as a valuable partner in the community because they perceive you as a resource for folks that are at the lower income level. It's a way to look for funding, because I will tell you all of our programs we were able to fund through outside resources because it was very compelling to the funders to be able to deliver work along those areas. And most of all, I think, is we are meeting people where they're at. They like the opportunity to connect us when they want to. They like the opportunity that the information we provide is information that is timely and important, and the fact that they're able to then have that information sent to their device and accessible when they want it, they can refer back to it. So I would encourage you to use text in your community impact work. And as you do use it and you do create programs, please share, because we all work together if we're all working with each other. So I will pass this over, I believe, now to Tom to talk about the next collective impact.
Larry, thank you. Appreciate that. And this is Tom now speaking about the next slide, Johnny, if you'll advance that. So that as we want to talk about systems change, we understand that United Ways have programs embedded in them, and sometimes their local partners are conducting programs such as the type that you've seen, or many other examples. With the United Ways, once they come onto the platform, our commitment to the local partners is to bring as many of those local partners onto the platform as well, without an additional service charge nor any consideration for that. We see them as part of the solution, part of the collective systems change. United Ways can act as hubs for local partners, and under just one single license, people can start to get a continuity of service from a single point of contact. A short code, as it's starting to become more and more present in your contacts on your mobile devices, becomes a voice, a trusted voice, and it delivers information from a single point. Links and warm handoffs can be made to local partners. Assessments can be part of the service. Follow-up can be part of the service. Case management can be part of the service, as it relates to the kinds of things that we are seeing underway in the United States. And before I finish, I want to invite everyone to use the contact information in the last slide and come back for actual demonstrations with your cell phones, so we can show you matter-of-factly how each of these programs work. The next segment's going to be about resource development, and in those models, we have some lovely integration as well. And so now I'm going to pass it over to Eric.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Eric Cramen. I'm the Director of Resource Development with Andar 360. And what we want to talk about in the next few slides here are just 4 ways that we've seen texting being used along with Andar 360, the CRM tool, to do some fundraising. And so the first of the 4 is workplace giving. I'll be talking about episodic giving, which could be event related or a specific cause you may be working for. How we can use the system to do some storytelling. I'll explain that some more then, as well as some crowdfunding. That's really some new pieces that we're rolling out right now. So the first piece that I'll talk about is a one text workplace giving. Many of you probably have heard text to give, where you text a word to a number, and then you get a reply message with a link to a page where you can then go online and pledge. We can do that through the Andar system if you like. One piece that we can do in addition to that is we have the ability to have a one text where you would text something like invest 150, or as you can see on the slide there, invest AB 600, and a transaction is actually written right to the system. The person giving the dollars needs to do nothing else at the moment. They simply give the money and move on. Then you can follow up an hour later, a day later, however you want to do that. Get their first name, last name, information. And in this case, it would just be a payroll deduction type of a gift. This could also be used for to be billed kinds of gifts and that sort of thing as well. So there's no need to click a link, fumble around with a credit card at an event or in a auditorium if it's a workplace kickoff campaign or something. You get the commitment from the donor and then move on. Allow them to move on, allows you to follow up later on to get more personal information. The second method is what we're calling episodic giving. Now, this could be through a cause, or this could be through for a cause, I should say, or at an event. And as I described in the first one, you could do this and have the donor send a text to a keyword with a dollar amount, or just to a keyword. It's a very flexible system, and you could have transaction created. You follow up with them later on. Again, getting the commitment now and collect tomorrow. You could also, as I mentioned, you could return a message to them that would have a link to an online giving page where they could pay their pledge right away. So you could, if you wanted to, pay through PayPal or through a credit card, something like that. Third method that we are looking at using the texting for is a, sorry, I skipped ahead here. If this was an on-location method.
Eric, have you completed episodic giving?
Yes, can you go on to the next, to the dashboard, please? Yes, so one of the pieces, because this is an integrated system, one of the pieces you would be able to do is at an event or a kickoff meeting with a company or whatever function your organization takes on, whatever it looks like for a fundraising event, you could have a dashboard that would be live, and you could list, you could have people's pictures popping up or information about them, their name, thanking them for their giving, have a thermometer raising, and this is nothing more than a web page that updates every few seconds and looks to the database, to the transactions that are being written, and is displayed on the screen. This is just a demonstration screen that you see here. Of course, you would want to build in facets, or I should say we have facets built in to adhere to people's privacy. So if they didn't want their name shown on the screen, it would show as anonymous, or if there was a special message you wanted to have them be able to enter, we could show that as well. Go to the next slide. This part is talking about a work plan storytelling, and really what this has to do with is the ability to set a program up inside of Andar, and then based on whatever that program is, periodically send out text messages to your donors. So you would be able to take segmented groups, and in you select, you could send out content such as videos, or you could remind them of events coming up, such as a golf tournament or a annual awards banquet, something like that. You could remind them of outstanding pledges, and you could also remind them to, or send out a message saying, click here to update your personal profile so we know how to get in touch with you. So there's a lot of functionality because of the integrated nature of Andar 360 specifically. There's a lot of functionality that could be intertwined with texting in this case. The fourth piece that we just want to talk about, that is a very recent addition to the texting tool, and the texting tool between Andar and Andar 360 and the folks at EMS is a partnership in the making. And as we get ideas and we hear ideas from people, we continue to grow and enhance what we're working and how we're working together. One piece that came up that was new at the Community Leaders Conference that was just in May was the idea of crowdfunding through texting. And so we're rolling that out now. And you again can have different teams with different dashboards, and you can have teams trying to fundraise against other teams, and all the tracking of that, of course, on people's records within one database, one system. And I think that's all I have from the fun of this.
Great. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, I think, one of the things that we have seen with this is capitalizing on the channel, not just from the idea of a moment in time, a single donation, but looking at it in terms of additional contacts with those potential donors, developing more of a relationship through text, and that relationship will, over time, bank more dollars. Tom, did you want to add some conclusions here?
The data on the impact, as you saw it going through community programs, was provided in a slide-by-slide way. But from a conclusion standpoint, once clients opt in, they remain over time. To punctuate Jonathan's point, in studies now of thousands of users that have opted in, we're seeing less than a 10% dropout rate over long periods of time. So people remain engaged. The engagement that we are measuring not only is in opt-ins, but it's also in taking actions that are not donations, but moreover programmatic and or behavioral actions that we've asked them to take along the way. Going to another website, getting more information, responding back to surveys, doing things of that nature, and we're starting to register very high rates of engagement in these areas as well. The idea that high rates of satisfaction and the ease of the giving methods are starting to result in some early data, and I encourage everyone to stay tuned for more of this kind of data as it becomes available. We'll make it a part of one of our next webinars and show it. But one thing I would like to say is that as sites implement, it's something that's quite easy for them to do, and usually it's about a 30-day period to begin and go through the orientation, get staff trained, and establish that you're on your way and using these wonderful templated community impact programs, of which we showed you 5. There are another 20 or so that we have the templates for. And of course, as Larry said, build your own, which are tremendously valuable as we go through time. And then use the fundraising methods as we've shown you, and establish that you're increasing your open channels for workplace giving, for episodic giving, for providing more time and longer intervals, that you are longer engagements, that you're staying in touch and in tune with your donors, and giving them more opportunities to give along the way through that storytelling method. Most interesting, I guess, and most dynamic even now is this SMS sharing, where people can be joined into teams and help each other fundraise and crowdfund. So a lot of good stuff to go over. And I think, Larry, if you don't mind, we started with you. I might pass it back to you for some conclusions as well. So I'll mute back out, and we'll put up some contact information at the end. We also would love it if people raised their hands with questions. We can go to them directly on audio, and questions can come in, and we can answer them directly for you. So, Larry, with that, I'm going to mute back out and let you make some conclusions.
Thank you. And a couple of points that I want to just close with. There are significant numbers of studies that talk about why you should be using text and who's using text. We know that if you are 55 and younger, text is your preferred method of communication. We know that the fastest growing segment of text users is those 55 plus. We know that the read rate on text, usually happens in less than 20 seconds. And we know that, for example, on email, you're lucky to get 10% to even look at your email. But more importantly, I think that you need to be where your clients are, where your community is, and where you can do the most impact. And more importantly, most impact in a financially viable way. And what we have found is that for a minimal investment, we can have significant impact without bringing new staff on, without taking away from the other work we're doing. So it's a win-win-win for all sorts of reasons. And we've also, I didn't mention this going in, but we spent a year looking at the various platforms when we were going to bring text into our agency. We spent another year working with the 2-in-1 CEO work group when we wanted to develop a national text platform. And we believe then, and we believe now, that this platform is the best because it allows us to grow as we grow. It has a rate of performance that is unmatched, and the price point is extremely attractive. So, being part of the National Text Platform for 2-in-1 United Way is a significant benefit. Your partners, community partners, will love the fact that they can get on your platform and it'll create a much more dynamic community system. And one thing that we've learned over the 7 years is we routinely, on a daily basis, talk to individuals. When I say talk, I mean through text, that tell us we're not for text. They would never have reached out for us. Tell us that they don't like phone calls or emails, but getting a text that they can look at when they want is important. And having it come in a way that works for them. And, lastly, if you have not tried text, this is the time. We have the opportunity and the ability to make significant impact in our community with text. So with that, I would turn it back to any questions, and thank you very much for your time.
Hi, thank you, Larry, for the kind words. This is Jonathan with Educational Message Services, and we can answer some questions. We're going to be available to answer questions now. If you write in your questions, that would be fine. And then we can just go ahead and speak them out. And then if everybody could kind of hang on there, Larry and Eric, if you could hang out there for a little bit longer, so that we can maybe answer a couple questions. One of the questions is, how are outcomes measured? So I assume that's related to the community impact programs. And I know one of the ways that they evaluate that program is through text messaging itself. So they work back around with everybody who participated. So not just the youth who used the service, and I'm gonna speak about one particular, because they're using this type of survey across all of those community impact programs. But I want to use this one example, the going to college, so that you can draw some conclusions from that. So reaching back to all participants and knowing what their role is, right? Because that's part of their participation in getting the going to college. It's known up front whether they're a student or whether they're a parent or whether they're a educator. And so at the end of a year of getting those messages, a text message survey is sent out, and 75% or higher response rates on these surveys. And the surveys ask questions like, for the students, did you attend college at the end of the receiving the series of messages? Did you complete FAFSA? So looking at specific markers as feedback that comes from those who participate, and then utilizing that data to then present back to the funder and justify the dollars that were contributed to that program. Text is proving to be an incredibly powerful tool, not just for delivering content, but also for evaluating the effectiveness of that content. It's the same model and the same medium that folks are comfortable with using. And so if you go ahead and ask them survey questions, and it's the same thing that Andar 360 is onto with these integrated services, is that it's a channel that isn't just for donating, right? It's a channel that is for so much more, right? Engagement.
That's exactly
growth.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only is it for the giving portion of it, but we've seen some very interesting applications of it in terms of event-related work, in terms of reminding. Or I come from the north where it's cold and snowy, and so events have to be canceled once in a while. And getting that message out quickly and easily, as well as getting volunteers to register for Day of Action. So instead of having people sign up ahead of time, if you can't get their information, have them text in when they get to the location for their Day of Caring event, and have them identify themselves that way. So it's from our perspective, it's much more than just text to give. It's truly a communication medium, and I think as Larry said, it's important to meet your community where they're at, and certain segments of your communities, this is a very important place to meet them.
Thank you, Eric. Is the Text for Tots program connected to Help Me Grow? The Text for Tots program is out of HHS, so it's content that was developed by federal Health and Human Services. It's open source. It can be connected to Help Me Grow in that it can be provided in tandem with that work. Help Me Grow model and how it's being expressed in the INR and 211 communities and the sector is a lot of one-on-one conversational texting that provides direct services. This is definitely, though, a nice adjunct piece, right? So that you've got some educational content going out that's fully automated. So participants would maybe learn about Help Me Grow, and they can cross-pollinate those two programs. So excellent question, and thank you for bringing that up.
And Jonathan, we do in fact in our operation use them side by side. So if the question is your child doing this when they should be doing it? If not, then we then come back to our Help Me Grow program and take it on that track. And we also push out information routinely through the text program for Help Me Grow.
Very nice. And they're always a text away from live support because you're offering the live two-way conversational texting. So, yep.
Exactly.
Are the existing programs... Go ahead.
No, I was saying that goes back to the ease of creating programs to meet the community's needs.
Right. Okay, and that question was from Kelly Dodd. Thank you so much. Great question. Are the existing programs from Libby Donahue, and I hope you guys don't mind mentioning your names. These are excellent questions. Are the existing programs, messages, et cetera, available for implementation in a new location, or would we need to start from scratch to implement? So are the existing programs available for implementation in a new location? They absolutely are. That's the kind of open source work that we've been involved in that all of the routines and models are in fact available to implement at another agency. We urge you to reach out to, of course, the source of the program, and Larry Olness and somebody from his team to ask permission or speak to them about getting that content directly from them. We're just, what we are is we're the service provider that enables all of that functionality to operate. But as far as that, the brain trust in building the routines and the models, go to the source there.
And we're more than happy to share the content. Some of it is very specific to our location, and some of it is generic that would be applicable to anywhere you are.
If we currently have the text platform for 211 in our community, are you saying we do not have to pay an additional fee to utilize text for these various programs? Tom, do you want to take that?
Sure. On anything that has a contract, Brooke, that was from you. We provide all of our services under one contract. So if you're 211 has a service contract with us, you'll see on your service contract that specialized programs, the kind that we're talking about here, the community impact programs, are part of that 211 service agreement with you. The fundraising part, the parts that are we're talking about adding under a United Way integrated service, we look at that as more of a blended site. So on an individual basis, we can make that available to you as well. But again, I say to you that on the community type programs that you've seen here today, that they are all considered under your 211 platform contract. So with that, I'll mute back, and Johnny, you can do the next question.
Hello? Got radio silence. I had nothing on my phone. I got dead air on my phone. Nothing happening. Dead air,
Hello?
nothing.
Sorry.
Hello?
Okay. Sorry about that. We lost audio for a moment. Okay. So, so the question is, and we've heard this before, is where do we start? If we want to do one of these programs, where do we go? Okay, so if you're interested in doing a community impact program, you can go to the Heart of Florida, United Way, talk to Larry Owens or one of his colleagues, or Educational Message Service. We can provide you with information as well. If you're interested in the text to give model, the integrated services with ANDR 360, you can reach out to them, or you can reach out to Educational Message Services, Prevention-Based Text. We have also info@preventionbasedtext.com, and you can always ask questions about any of the services we offer. So that's the roadmap on how to get in touch with those that need to be contacted in order to get started. Okay, I think you guys, did you have anything to add, Larry?
No,
as far as getting started? Okay.
No. It's very,
Okay,
I can say it's very easy, very, very easy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about getting the ball rolling. If you have a program in mind, reach out, even if it's not one of the ones that we've listed as examples. If it's a program that you've been thinking about maybe keeping in your back pocket for a while, reach out and Heart of Florida United Way has been doing texting for the last 7 years. We've been doing texting for going on 10, 12 years. So, and then ANDR 360 is there to help with any kind of fundraising and integrated texting solutions that might be with their platform. But if you're on another platform, you can reach out to us, ask questions about integrated solutions with your platform. So we want to encourage that. So thank you so much, and thank you for the excellent questions. Very much appreciated. Thank you, Larry, for your time, and thank you, Eric, for your time, and Tom, appreciate your time. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.